how to attract the right man in your life. Very broad topic. Seems to be a topic that a lot of people have issues with. I've been getting I would say a little bit of a going back and forward with people. Some people were like, "Oh, that's a great topic. I think that it's something that we need to discuss and really get into perspective and really get to understand." And then there were some people who were like, been there, done that, that kind of a thing. But I think that we need to take another look at this perspective of it. Because I believe that you can attract the right person into your life. Just so happens the reason why I'm using this particular topic and I'm going this way. I was talking to a few women we were talking about manifesting, and we were talking about getting things and being able to create your own reality and manifest some things that you want in your life. What happens is you begin to understand and begin to link into understanding the law of attraction, being able to understand that we all are magnets. And we're going to get into that tonight and basically get into a deeper understanding of how it plays out. Got some really good concepts and really good things that I want to discuss. And like I said, I definitely want to see everybody's feedback. So if you guys are in the chat room and you have questions and comments, please feel free to connect with me. We're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys connect with us tonight as we get into this. All right, how to attract the right man in your life. So I would have to say that the question I want to ask tonight is, are you ready for a man? All right, because before I could attract the right man, the question I want to ask is, am I ready? What that means is, what is my positioning right now? Where am I at mentally, physically, psychologically? Where am I at? If I'm talking about attracting and bringing a man into my life or into this relationship factor, where exactly am I? Because, okay, in one aspect of it, you could be saying to yourself, well, I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be by myself. I kind of want to, soulmate. I kind of want to be with somebody. But at the same time, I know that you don't want to keep getting one man and then it's not working out, and then this one doesn't work out and this one doesn't work out, and then it becomes an issue and a problem as to why am I not attracting the right person? Why is it that I keep attracting the same kind of person over and over again? And so the question is, are you ready? Right? I have here, if you look at it, it says, look in the mirror, right? Because in order for me to know if I'm ready, I have to know who I am. I have to be able to look at myself and begin to discover, really, who am I? Am I really this person that I think that I am? And so am I really ready to attract this person into my life who I consider to be the right one? Because when I look in the mirror, only person I'm going to see is me, myself, and I. And this is a person I got to deal with. There may be psychological damage. There may be things that you've been holding on to for years. There may be psychological wounds. There may be all kind of tormentation of different things that you've experienced throughout your life that you haven't dealt with. These are the things that you're still holding on to. These are the things that have allowed you to move into a perspective of how you think and how you operate. And so before we even talk about getting a man or attracting a man into our lives, the first thing that I wanted to clarify is, are you ready for a man? Because what this tells me now is that I've looked in the mirror, I begin to discover, like, okay, I have some issues, I have some things that I need to work on. And once you get an understanding of where you're at, once you get an understanding of who you are, it puts you in a different perspective. Now, here's the next thing that we look at. Define the word right. Because when I put in the topic, define or how to attract the right man, that word right is going to be different for everybody who's on this webinar tonight. It's going to be different because your right is not going to be this person's right, and this person's right is not going to be that person's right. So everybody's right is a different right. What is your right? Define that word right. What does it mean as far as of attracting the right man into my life? Now, listen, you notice that I use the word right because I could have used the word good. How to attract a good man, how to attract a healthy man, how to attract a wealthy man, how to attract, any kind of man, right? But I said to define the word right, because whatever you define the word right as is going to be the one that's right for you, because you're going to attract this person for you. And just because a person is wealthy, just because a person is a good man, doesn't mean that he's the right one for you. And so when we begin to now look into how we're going to attract these people into our lives, we want to make sure that we understand what does that word right mean to us? How can I define what that word right means? Because I need to be able to know what do I need in a man? What I need? How am I going to make that happen? And so when we begin to understand that and we look at it in that context, we begin to see how it happens. Now we move to the next slide, and it says, write your list. Listen, when you begin to manifest or you begin to do anything in life, you must begin to understand and know that writing is always the first level of manifestation. Anytime you're going to write anything down, anytime you're going to put anything into perspective that you want to manifest or magnetize into your life, anything that you want to attract, you want to put it on paper first. And as you begin to write it down, what ends up happening is that you're letting the universe know that I'm serious about this. I'm serious about attracting and magnetizing the right person, the right thing, the right circumstances into my life. I'm serious about this thing. And so if I'm serious about it, what needs to happen now is that I need to be able to put myself in a perspective of where I'm beginning to understand and know that, yes, you are a magnet. You're a magnet. Your mind is a magnet, and you're able to magnetize situations, circumstances, and also the right people into your lives. So here is the next question. What kind of man are you magnetizing, right? Some of you may say, well, I've been magnetizing the wrong kind of men in my life. Some people may say, well, I haven't been magnetizing any man. I need to magnetize a man. So now it goes back to the question that we just talked about. Are you really ready to magnetize a man into your life? Are you really ready to make that step to say that you're absolutely ready to deal with that? Because you want to make sure you've looked in the mirror and begin to deal with and handle some of the things that you have to deal with in your own issues in your own self before I can now go and try to connect with somebody else. Right. And so I want to make sure that I'm good. I want to make sure that I'm secure within myself. I want to make sure that I'm stable within my own being before I now can put myself in a position to join with somebody else. And so when I begin to understand that and come into that understanding, what happens is this. What kind of man are you trying to magnetize into your life? Listen, you only attract what you are, not what you want. So when you write your list, you don't write down the kind of man that you want. You have to realize this. Let me tell you, this is the secret. This is the real secret tonight. Listen to this. When you're writing a list, right? And if you write a list of all the qualities that the man must have, I need him to be honest. I need him to be trustworthy. I need him to be loyal. I need him to be reliable. All these great characteristics that you're going to write on the paper that you want your man to have, right? What you got to realize is that all of those qualifications that you're putting on the paper, you yourself must possess those qualities first, because I cannot attract that which I am not. And so this is where the frustration comes in, because we want what we ourselves are not. And the frustration is we tell ourselves that, listen, I am loyal, I am honest, but you have to really look within yourself. Here we go back again, going back to looking in the mirror and beginning to look at ourselves and say, listen, everything that I wrote on this paper about which kind of a man do I want to attract, do I possess those qualities myself? Because all I'm going to do is magnetize what I am, not what I want. And so you have to make sure that you come into a greater understanding of being able to attract who you are. And if you're not getting what you are, if you're not attracting what you believe that you are, it's a direct indication that you have to go within and do some work. Guess what? We've taken it all the way back to the beginning, the foundational level, because now I got to go back and look in this mirror. I got to deal with me, myself, and I. And so when I begin to understand that and move into that level of understanding, it brings me into that place now where I'm able to understand the importance of magnetizing this particular person, this soulmate, this person that I want to bring into my reality. Now listen to this. So writing the list, you write down the list of what kind of man you're looking for. You can be as detailed and as specific as you want. I understand that, but you have to be able to understand that what you're putting on that list is not a list of things that you want. It must be a list of things that you're going to already are, that you already possess. Guess what? Because whoever I'm in relationship with, whoever I'm connected with, it's a direct reflection of who I am. We meet nobody in this world but ourselves. So what happens is when you attract somebody into your world, or when you connect with somebody, you're actually connecting with yourself, because a magnet attracts, it pulls in the energy, the vibrationals, the magnetism power that it brings in. It magnetizes that which it is, not what it wants, not what it hopes to be, not what it wishes to be. Now, what I'm saying is very important, because as we get later on into this webinar, you're going to see how we're going to be talking about the concept of how women think and the concept of how men think. And you begin to understand, because I'm getting ready to show you tonight how you are going forward to look at a man. I'm going to show you how you're going to look forward, going forward, looking at a man. The crazy thing, this crazy thing called law of attraction, right? It's a crazy thing, right? Don't make changes on the outside. Let's deal with that one for a minute tonight. Don't make any changes on the outside. Listen, what happens here is that a lot of times, and I'll say this, men are controlled by what they see. Women are controlled by what they hear. And so what ends up happening here is this. What ends up happening is this, is that when you begin to start making a change of the things that you want to manifest and you want to attract, women have a tendency to do it on the outside. This is what we do. We get the enhanced breast, we get the enhanced behind, we wear makeup, we do wigs, we do weaves, we do all of these things on the outside, all these cosmetic things. We get plastic surgery, we do all of these things on the outside, because we feel like these are the things that are going to make us attractive, right? But you don't understand that the magnetism, attracting power that you are really looking for is not on the outside. It's always on the inside. So this is what happens. When you make those changes on the outside, what it does is it does make you more noticeable. It may make you more in the spotlight. It may make you gain more attention. But what happens is when the person gets to you, they realize that what you have done was false advertisement, because you have personified and put yourself out to be this thing. But when the person connected with you, they knew on the inside that you weren't really the thing that you said or that you were portraying yourself to be. So making the changes on the outside is definitely the wrong thing to do, because you never want to be able to make changes on the outside. I've personally, honestly, anybody that knows me, even when it comes to women, I've never been a component of makeup, because I've always felt like I've seen women that when they put makeup on, they look like a whole different person. And I'm not saying that they don't look good. I'm not saying that they're not attractive. But anytime that you have to put on makeup and you look like a whole other person, to me, I feel like, why don't you just walk in the beauty and in the person who you were born to be? I've always felt that it was something that covers up, that, you know, I'm not against eyeliner. I'm not against a little blush, a little lipstick. I'm not against any of that. But sometimes we go overboard a little bit. You know, we do the whole thing, the eyelashes, you know, you really go all the way in. And so making that change on the outside does not do anything if you don't make the change on the inside. Listen, I talked about this today with a good friend of mine. We were talking about this. If you fail to go within, you must learn to live without. You got to be in a position to where you now go within to make the change inside of yourself. Because if you don't make the change inside of yourself, then you got to understand that the changes that you want to make on the outside are not going to happen. We are all reflecting mirrors. What happens in my outside world is a direct reflection of what's going on inside of me. So what I have to do now is begin to make changes on the inside. It's not about the makeup. It's not about the wigs. It's not about the weaves. It's not about how big your breasts are. It's not about how short your skirt is. It's not about those things, because those things are not really what the attraction and magnetizing power is. And so it comes into that, into this next topic that I want to talk about, changing your magnet's target. Because listen, when you're going on the outside to make the changes, you have to ask yourself, what's my target? Because if you're trying to attract a man in your life, the question is, who are you targeting? What exactly are you targeting? What demographic? What are you targeting? Because when you make these so-called changes on the outside and you feel like you have that attraction power and that you have that magnetism power, the question has to come into place of what am I targeting? Am I just going for whoever shows up, or is there a target that I'm going for? So what exactly, when you talk about attracting, or if you are making the changes on the outside, now listen, I'm not telling you not to go outside and look nice and dress up. Wonderful, all good, definitely. I applaud you, and I want you, and I commend you to do that. But what I'm saying to you is that when you are definitely making these changes on the outside because you feel like it's going to enhance you and put you more further in the limelight, it's going to give you more attention because you want the attention and you want to be able to attract certain men into your lives, my question to you is, what's your target? Who are you targeting when you do that? Do you know who you're targeting, or you're just doing it just to see what happens? And so I think that it comes back down to the, when you're talking about magnetizing a man into your life, what's your target? Who are you targeting? Because when you begin to understand and look at that from that perspective, and you begin to say, okay, who is it exactly that I'm targeting? Who is it that exactly I'm coming into this place to be able to understand and begin to move in this perspective? And so I'm getting ready to understand that I have to set a target of where I'm going to aim. Well, what is my target goal? What is my target that I'm going for? And so it comes back to this, defining the word right. What does the word right mean to you? And when you begin to do that, you begin to understand of what does it mean to actually have the right man. What does that right man mean? Many of us, I believe, we don't know exactly what we want. I've met a lot of people who can tell me what they don't want. A lot of times I think that what happens on TV is we see love romance movies. We see these love romance movies. We see these, these love movies, these whole love bio pictures, and on TV, and all of these things have enhanced our minds and our perceptions on what we think love is, on what we think certain things is. And so what happens is we search for these things, right? These are the things that we go out into the world and we want to have these romantic love fantasy stories. But what happens is when we get them, we realize that it wasn't really what we thought it was. It was like, it's TV, it's a movie. But on top of that, we realized that in the midst of this whole love fantasy thing that we were hoping that we could attract, there is something called real life, reality. And so what happens is when you begin to understand that, you begin to say, wait a minute, I understand, about the whole love and the fantasy and the romance and all that. But then there's a thing called reality as well that checks in. It's called the reality factor. And so it brings you into that perspective of understanding that. So now we come down to this point, right? It's not just about attracting a man in your life, but also how can you keep him? Because if you are the kind of person that was always making the changes on the outside, you were dressing nice, you were putting on the makeup, you were wearing nice clothes, you were doing all this stuff for the extra attention, you're out there, everybody's looking at you, you're not really targeting anybody, you're just trying to magnetize whoever you can magnetize to you, right? So now you're out there and now you attracting the brother into you. You have the man now that you wanted to attract, you have him. The question is, how do you keep him? Because listen to this. You only could attract what you are. So if you attract him and you got him to come in and he didn't stay, that's also a direct indication that you may have attracted somebody or brought somebody in who you and him, you have attracted somebody who was not you and you were not them. They did not have the qualities that you possess. they were confused, and for a temporary moment, they thought that you were the person that they wanted to connect with. But when they connected with you, they realized that you really didn't have that magnetism power, or on the other hand, the qualities that you thought you were going to attract, you didn't possess yourself. And so what ended up happening is that this person realized and came to a level of self-awareness and understood, like, wait a minute, you know, this is not the person that I thought it was. This is not who I thought you were. This is not the way I thought the situation was going to go, because what you've done is you only attracting who you are. So some of you may get upset tonight and say, listen, I've been cheated on. I've been lied on. Men have treated me like a dog. I'm not that kind of way. I don't cheat. I don't lie. I don't do these things. So why have all the men that I've ever been with did that to me? Well, the question I have to ask you is this. First of all, are you attracting the right kind of man? I mean, are you attracting these kind of men over and over again? Every man you went lied on you. Every man that you've been with cheated on you. There's something inside of you that's attracting these kind of men into your life. There's something inside of you. It could be a psychological thing. It could be a way of how you're perceiving your world, how you're looking at life, something in the way of your perception in life that's getting into your way of understanding of, why am I attracting these kind of men in my life? Why I keep attracting the same kind of man over and over again? Something has to change. So it's not an outside change. It's not about moving from a different state. It's not about moving from a different job. It's not about doing any of those things, because it's not about getting a divorce and then getting married again, only to marry the same person that you just divorced. It's the same thing, because the only thing that will change will be your perception on how you look at life. Listen, women everywhere, I want you to, this is the most important part of this webinar. Whatever you see the word man ever again in your life, take the word man out and replace it with mind. Man is mind. Whenever you see the word man, just replace it with the word mind. When you attract a man into your life, or when you get into a relationship with a man, you're not getting in a relationship with a man, you're getting in a relationship with his mind. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good he looks. It doesn't matter how big he is. It doesn't matter how strong he is. It doesn't matter how many biceps and triceps and six packs. When you get in a relationship with a man, what you're getting in relationship with is his mind. So listen, from now on, whenever you see the word man, I want you to replace it with mind. So what you're really saying to yourself is, I'm looking for a mind. I'm looking for a mind that I can connect with, that I can come into relationship with, that I can be one with. But now check this out now. If I'm going to attract the right, let's replace that man with mind, the right mind, then I can only attract the mind that I am. I can only attract what I am. So if I'm attracting the wrong kind of man, which is the mind, then that means that there's something wrong. Listen, when you get in a relationship with a man, you're getting in a relationship with how he thinks, how he operates. You're getting in a relationship with how he was brought up, his whole perspective on life. You're getting in a relationship with his beliefs, his disbeliefs on what he thinks or what he doesn't think, or what he feels or what he doesn't feel. You're getting in a relationship with his mind. It has nothing to do on the outside level. Now, the outside level is great, because what happens is, you know, sometimes the outside could be great and the inside is nothing inside. But sometimes the inside could be great and the outside cannot be good outside. But what I want you to understand is that when you get in a relationship with somebody, you're getting in a relationship with their mind. And so when we begin to understand that and look at that from that perspective, I'm getting in a relationship with somebody who thinks a certain way, who operates a certain way. So some of you that are watching this right now, you've been in previous relationships, and you can see the kind of men that you were in a relationship with, and you can see, you know what? You're absolutely right. He was crazy. He didn't believe in me. He didn't love me. He didn't show me attention. He was always thinking about himself. This is his mind. This is the way that he thought. And the thing about it was that he thought like this from the beginning. So whatever reason we didn't want to see, or we didn't want to come to concept about him, when you married him, you didn't marry the man, you married his mind. When you got in a relationship with him, you didn't get in a relationship with his outer package, you got in a relationship with his mind. And so when you begin to understand about attracting a man into your life, the question is, what is his mind all about? I want to know what he thinks, how he operates. I want to know what does he believe about women? What does he believe about parents? What does he believe about his life? Is he Is he moving in purpose? Is he moving in his destiny? Is he about expanding and really fulfilling his life? Or is he about just trying to survive from day to day, make it from this day to that day? Is he really trying to be somebody? Is he really trying to really move into a place, into an opportunity to where he can actually become great? Is he looking to get married, possibly starting a family, moving into fatherhood, moving into husbandhood? These are some of the things that you want to question yourself, because the question is, we went back to this, are you ready for a man, right? And then the next question I should have asked you guys were, what do you want a man for? For what? For what's the reason why? Because I don't want to be lonely, because I need sex, because I need, I just need attention, I need affection. I mean, what's the real reasoning behind this concept? And we're going to get a little bit into that, because I'm going to show you that, listen, I purposely look at life as a game. Life is a game. And if you're going to play the game of life, you have to learn how to win and be a winner in the game of life. And so that means when you get in relationships, you got to know how to play to win. You got to know how to play the win. And so when you get in a relationship with somebody, you want to look at them as a partner playing in the game of life. Listen, you got to change your perception on how you look at things. But I want you to replace, from now on, I want you to replace the word man with the word mind. Every time I see a man, or every time I talk about attracting a man, every time I talk about anything about a man, from this day forward, I will now replace the word man with mind, because his mind is really what I'm really going to be concerned about. Because in his mind comes everything. Listen, from the inside, therefore it comes outside. As within, so without. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So as I think, so am I, right? His mind. I'm more concerned about what his mind concept is. I'm thinking about his mind individuation and how he's able to bring things into perspective, because his mind is going to tell me who he is. It's going to let me know whether he's closed-minded, whether he's fixed, whether he's stubborn. You know, these are the things that you need to understand when you talk about getting in a relationship with somebody, because you're talking about connecting, becoming one. Not only that, when you're talking about getting a relationship with a man, always remember that you only attract what you are, not what you want. So if you are in a relationship with a man right now and you find yourself that you really don't like this guy and you really don't like his mind concept, and you really feel like we're really not a pair, we're really not a match, you got to go within yourself and say, why am I attracting this kind of man into my life? What's inside of me that I'm attracting this mind into my life? So now we got to take it all the way back. Now I got to look in the mirror. I got to be able to deal with some things on the inside, because I have to understand, why am I attracting this kind of man into my life? I got to look at it from that perspective. And then once I look at that perspective, now I'm going to be able to make some changes and move some things. Listen, men connect with women with the hope that they will never change. Listen, when a man sees a woman, he sees her, he's like, oh my God, she looks phenomenal. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's everything I want. A man looks at a woman just like that, and he wants you to stay like that for the rest of your life. He wants you to stay like that forever. He doesn't want you to never change. A woman will connect with a man with the hope that he will change. Listen, so the man looks at the woman and says, her beauty, she's gorgeous, she's everything I want right now, right here. I just need her to take a snapshot and freeze her, that she never changes. She stays the same forever. He never wants you to change. But a woman will look at a man and says, you know what? He may not be exactly where I want him, but guess what? He has the potential, right? He has the potential to be good. He has the potential to be a good man. I see great potential in him to really be successful. I see great potential in him to really be a great father, a great husband. You see the potential. And so you may not necessarily connect with him because of where he is now, but you believe that, you know what, with my intuition and with my influence, I can mold him and I can push him and bring him into the man that I need him to be. And guess what? Unfairly, both of you are disappointed, because the woman that the man thought was going to stay the same, she changes. She changes. She doesn't stay the same. She gets older. She gets wiser. She evolves, right? She changes. But then the woman who was expecting the man to change, he necessarily doesn't change. He stays the same, right? This goes back to the concept of what exactly am I attracting into my life? You don't want to really attract possibility. You don't want to attract hope. You don't want to attract maybe, should have, he could be, he has the potential. You don't want to attract potential because listen, when you're talking about getting in a relationship with a man, you're not getting in a relationship with potential. You're not getting in a relationship with what could be, what should be, what can be. You want to get in a relationship with what is. I'm attracting what I am. And so you have to look at that from that perspective and say to yourself, like, listen, I have to be able to attract what I am. I have to be able to attract that which I am able to bring into focus and become aligned with a one-on-one with myself. Because I begin to understand that I can't change her. She can't change me. But what I can do is attract the person that I need to be in my life. Listen, relationships is all about consciousness, the consciousness of relationships. This is very important because everything in life is about consciousness. Consciousness is our only reality. What this does is it brings us into a perspective now where we begin to understand and we begin to know that consciousness of relationships brings us into a place of a togetherness, right? If I'm in a relationship, I am no longer under the consciousness of being single. I think differently. I'm not single anymore. And so I've moved and elevated into a relationship consciousness. I'm now, everything is together. When I'm at the grocery store and I'm buying something, I'm thinking about the other person. I'm thinking about other people. I'm not just thinking about myself anymore because now I'm in a relationship. I've shifted from singlehood. Now I'm in a relationship. I've changed consciousness. And so when we begin to understand and look at that perspective of it, we begin to understand the consciousness of a relationship. And sometimes I think that we have to begin to understand that there's a little shifting that, and there's a little window there that we need to take time as we begin to transition out of a consciousness of being single into a consciousness of being in a relationship. Listen, I give this analogy all the time. If you are an employee working at a company, you are an employee, you're working at a company, and the boss comes to you and says, listen, you know what? We've been watching you for a while. We kind of like what you do. You come to work every day on time. You really put a good effort in. You're a quick learner. Listen, we want to elevate you into a manager, right? Now, what ends up happening is they don't just take you from being an employee and throw you into being a manager. They take you through a training first, because what the training does is it gets you and prepares you, moves you from the different level of consciousness. It moves you from the consciousness of an employee into the consciousness of being a manager. Right? So the same thing happens in a relationship. When you get ready to move from being single, there's a little training, there's a little area that you need to go through right there of transition, because you're moving from being single now to being into a relationship is a level of consciousness. Your thoughts change. No longer am I being selfish. No longer is it about being about me. No longer is it being about what I want, what my needs are. It's about how can we work together, right? And that's on both parties, right? Men and women speak two different languages. And so it's about being able to understand the language and being able to come and to connect with each other, to be able to understand the concept of how can we take this thing that seems like it doesn't fit and make it fit. Because we speak two different languages. They say men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right? And how can we connect and stay together? How can we fix it so that it fits together? It's about understanding the consciousness of a relationship. And this is what I mean by this. Women, if you're going to be looking for a man and you're going to attract a man, you're going to want to walk or already start transitioning yourself to be in the consciousness of a relationship. This is what I mean. If you're getting ready in the position of attracting a man, or you're looking for a husband, because first of all, I've always believed that a woman should never chase a man. I've always believed that a woman is supposed to be wooed and pursued by a man, right? That a woman should never really chase a man. A man should be the one coming after the woman. I've always believed that. So if that in fact is true, then what you need to do now is, now if you are single, what you need to do now is elevate yourself into a conscious of relationships. Even though you're not in a relationship, you need to embrace that consciousness, because guess what? You only attract what you are. And if you are already evolving and operating in a level of consciousness of relationships, guess what? You're going to start attracting those things which you are. You're going to start connecting with people. You're going to start hanging out with people. You're going to start dating and going out with people who are in relationships. When you're in a relationship, you should not be hanging out with single people. When you're married, you should not be hanging out with people who are not married, because those are two different levels of consciousness. So when you get into a level of consciousness of relationships, what that does now, it's going to magnetize to you in your reality the concept of being in a relationship. There we go again, going back into the beginning of this particular webinar where we talked about looking in the mirror. Who am I? Looking in that mirror, me, myself, and I. Love. This is a big component when we talk about I'm looking for a man, I want to fall in love. One of the things I say about falling in love, listen, when falling in love, never fall alone, right? Love, right? Love, 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 love. I've heard so many things about love. People tell me all the time, oh, you know, I've been hurt. I've been hurt before. I've been in a position where, you know, love hurt and he hurt me and love is hurt. I can't do it, love anymore. I can't fall in love. Listen, love never hurt anybody. It's impossible for love to hurt anybody. The only thing that the only thing that happened was this. The person didn't know how to use love hurt you, but love never hurt you because love can't hurt you, right? The person that didn't understand how to use love and how to embrace and really give you love hurt you, but love itself can never hurt you. The task from the great philosopher, the great one, Rumi says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. So I'm not even trying to seek love. Don't even try to seek love. What you want to really go within yourself and find out is, why have I put these barriers up between me and love? Because what happens is love is going to exist. It's something that I can't shun away from. It's something that I can't stop. It's something that I can't keep away from me. But what I could do is build a wall up between what I believe is me and love. And so what happens is, many of us will say, well, I'm looking for love. You know, I'm looking for my soulmate. I want to fall in love. I'm looking for love, but you're not looking for love. What you really want to do, go within and find out why you have built this wall against, in between you and love. Because what happens here is that when we begin to understand what love is, you never want to go outside of yourself looking for love. Because listen, if I go outside of myself looking for love, the very thing that I attach myself to outside of myself for love, that thing has power over me. Whether it's another man, whether it's a car, whether it's jewelry, whatever it is that I attach myself to because I need love, that thing now becomes and has power over me. And so I need to understand and need you to get an understanding of what this whole thing about love is. Because there's a difference between loving somebody and being in love. There's a difference. There's a difference between, oh, I'm in love with this person, or I love him, right? So we've been married for 25 years. We love each other. You know, I may not be factually in love with the person, but I still love him. I love him. You know, then there comes a time where you can love somebody and not like them. So it comes into a notion of, do I like you? Do I love you? Or the other thing is, am I in love with you? But now listen to this. I've always told people this. You never want to marry somebody because you fell in love with them. What happens when you fall out of love with them? What happens? So there has to be something that has to bring us together that's a little bit more stronger and concrete on a foundational level, that has to be more than just us falling in love. Because what happens when we fall out of love, or when each one of us build this wall up against, in between ourselves and love, and now we're confused because we feel like we don't love each other anymore, when in reality it's not about us not loving each other. We've put a wall up between love and ourselves. And so when we begin to look at that from that perspective, and we begin to look at it from that perspective into understanding is of what am I looking at when I'm trying to look for love? Because we think love is a feeling. Oh, it feels good to be in love, right? It feels good, right? But what exactly? Oh, I was in love and I'm in love with this person and we're in love with each other. Listen, I want to get real with you right here. I've never seen anybody pay the rent with love. I've never seen anybody pay their car note with love. I've never seen anybody pay the phone bill with love, right? So in this reality of what we call, of what we're looking at as far as love, what exactly is love? Because are we like, oh, I'm in love with this person? I'm are you infatuated? Because are you falling in love with this person? And I just said this earlier, when falling in love, never fall alone. Because a lot of times when we do fall in love, most of the times we do fall by ourselves. And so what ends up happening is you want to take a real close look at this word love and how you've embraced it. Because are you looking at it as far as I'm in love with this person, I love this person, I like this person, or what exactly is it that I am connected to? So for instance, it comes into inner dwelling. Now, when we talk about women, it gets a little deep because men are givers. That's why their sexual organs are outside of themselves, and women are receivers. That's why their sexual organs are within themselves. And so what ends up happening is that when we start talking about love and we start talking about things from a woman's perspective, it's mostly dealing with the feeling nature of it, because women are about feeling. Women are about sensation and attention, and they're all about receiving. And so a lot of times we get caught up into the notion of what exactly is this thing I'm calling love? What exactly is this thing that I'm allowing myself to really become indwelled with? Because listen, coming back to this, life is a game. And when you play the game of life, always play to win. And what that means is that you can't let yourself get so caught up that you get out of control, and that you allow your emotions to overtake, and that you allow yourself to get so deep into this thing that now you're trapped. And even though you really want to allow yourself to come out of this thing, you're so far in too deep that you have allowed yourself, and it becomes, and everything is out of control. So you never want to get to that position. You never want to get to that place. You always want to be in control. When playing the game of life, play the game of life to win. When we begin to look at this, we begin to see now sex, right? We move from love to sex, right? Sex, S-E-X, sex, very important in relationships. It's a very important thing. I think that everybody that's watching this webinar can agree that it's very important. I've had a lot of complaints about women that all men want is sex, all they want is sex, when in reality, sometimes a lot of women, they want sex too. I believe that the men who are having sex are not having sex by themselves. So it could be an equal opportunity thing here, right? When having sex, you want to be careful of who you give yourself to. Listen, you have to know your worth. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you possess, what makes you the person that you are, right? And so what happens is this. If I give myself away too much, I've cheapened myself. I've made myself of no value. But if I'm able to hold myself, if I'm able to put myself in a position to where I'm not accessible to everybody, and that everybody can't have a chance with me, or everybody can't connect with me, I bring value to myself, right? Now listen to this. You only attract who you are. So if I bring value to myself, guess what? I can only attract value. But if I'm the only one that gives myself to everybody and I'm just sleeping around with everybody, then what happens is I'm only attracting what I am. And so sometimes it goes back to this. Well, you know what? I was looking for attention. I was looking for love. I really didn't want to be lonely. So I'm having sex because I feel like if I have sex with men, I know men want sex. And I feel like if I have sex with a man, that he will want me and he will take care of me and he will be with me because I'm giving him sex of what he wants. And that's absolutely wrong. And it's wrong. That's a total wrong conception of ideas, because that's totally wrong. So it comes back onto, what's your perception of yourself? Be careful of who you give yourself to. Because guess what? The same thing with man is woman. Woman is a mind too. So when you talk about being able to understand each other, know your worth, what is your worth? Knowing what your worth is. Now, listen, I'm not telling you to not go out there and have a good time. I'm not telling you to not go out there and do what you do. I mean, all I'm telling you to do is this. In life is a game. And if you're going to play in the game of life, make sure that you play to win. And what I mean by that is a lot of people may say, well, what does he keep saying that? What does he mean by that? Listen, everybody that's born, right? You're born, and when you come into this world, life deals you a hand to play in the game of life. Let's say we're playing poker, right? Life deals you a hand. You may not have the best hand. You may have had, rough childhood. You may have had to come up sometimes. You may have had to get some things, rough childhood, in and out of, juvenile facilities, in and out of foster care, all those things, grew up, didn't have a lot of things, had to struggle, had to work hard, had to really, really had a rough childhood upbringing. You weren't dealt the best hand in life. But just because you wasn't dealt the best hand in life doesn't mean you can't win. Doesn't mean that you can't put yourself in a better position to win in the game of life. So in life, always play to win. Always play to come out on top. Always play to become the victor, to be successful, to be at the top of whatever it is that you want to do. It goes all the way back to the beginning of this thing. Look in the mirror. Who am I? Me, myself, and I. I got to know who I am. I got to know what my worth is. Because if I allow myself to be accessible and give myself to everybody and be a common known thing, I have no value. But guess what? When I'm not sleeping with everybody, when I'm not out there running around with everybody, and I'm now know my worth, my value goes up. My stock goes up because I'm building my brand. You are your own brand. You're building your brand. But guess what? Your brand attracts what it is. So the more value your brand has, the more structure it has, the more value it has, guess what? You only attract what you are. So you're only going to attract the same level of value that you have. If you're not happy with the value of the men that you're attracting, you need to go in and revalue yourself. You need to value up and set yourself together, reset, reform, reenact, reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And all of the things that I'm talking about as far as reinventing, all those things are not outside things. It's not about getting a hairdo. It's not about getting a makeup. It's not about getting plastic surgery. I'm talking about reforming your mind, reforming your consciousness, reforming how you think, how you operate. Because as you begin to do that, you begin to understand and know that in order for me to magnetize the kind of man that I want. So for instance, you say to yourself, I want a good man. I want a man that's loyal. I want a man that's honest. I want a man that's kind. I want all these things, right? And then you get that man, but then you're like, you know what? I got the man that I wanted, but he's boring. I'm bored. I have everything I want. He's loyal. He's trustworthy. He's honest. But in reality, to be honest, you didn't really want that. You just wanted that because you see it on TV. That's what everybody says. Listen, you never know what a good man is until you had a bad one. So you got to go out there and date. You got to go out here. That's why I tell everybody everything happens for a reason. Don't get mad because he cheated on you. Don't get mad because he lied on you. It's good. It's good that he did that because you will never know what it means to have a good man if you never had a bad one. You will never know what it is to be rich if you've never been broke. So don't get mad because of the situations and the circumstances that happen, but learn how to allow yourself to move into this level of consciousness to say, listen, I've been there, I've done that. I now, listen, every relationship you get in with is a learning experience. It teaches you more about yourself. Don't run away from the relationships, run to them, because the more relationships you get involved in, the more you date, the more you understand and learn about yourself. And so once again, it brings you into that level of playing the game of life. You're playing to win. Now, we talk about sex, right? And we all deal with sex and everything. But as we get older and as we begin to mature, we realize that in the reality of the whole thing about sex, intimacy is really the key. Because intimacy is not really, it's not just about a physical thing. It's not just about sex, or it's just not just about foreplay. It's not just about me and having this person or whatever the case may be. So we can get a little deep here tonight, right? We can get a little deep here tonight. So when we talk about sex, right, we talk about the concept of of looking at it from a different perspective of intimacy, right? Intimacy is not necessarily a physical thing. Intimacy can be on so many different levels of intimacy, on psychological levels, on emotional levels, right? In emotional intimacy, right? A woman could say, well, you know what? It's something about that he just does with my emotions. He knows how to emotionally satisfy me. He knows how to mentally satisfy me, right? Because a woman operates by what she hears. And so if you can get into the mind of a woman and begin to make love to her mind, you may not necessarily have to make love to her physically. So we begin to understand the concept and the individuation of what intimacy really is, and that you begin to understand the layers of what understanding is of time and really of what sex is, right? So I tell women all the time that, you know, you have to look at it from this perspective. Mostly in life, you know, talking to the fellas, we talked before, and some women may attest to this, is that the person that you had the best sex from probably wasn't the goodest person in the world. Probably wasn't the person that you really wanted to take home and introduce to your mama. It probably wasn't the person that you wanted to take home to Sunday dinner, right? And that's on both sides. That can be on the woman's side and it can be on the man's side too, right? And so you understand, why is it that? Why can't I have the best of both worlds, right? Why can't I have a person who's loyal, trustworthy, has a good job, does everything I have, needs all the things that I want to on this list, but also could be great in sex as well, right? But I believe that you could have that. But it's a matter of you attracting the very thing that you want to have in your life, of knowing what it is that you need and being able to attract that, right? So I tell people this. A lot of complaints you get is that you get a man that's wealthy, that's successful, he never has time, right? He's never there. But you got to ask yourself, do I want a broke man or a busy man? You got to ask yourself that. Because time is money, money is time. So these are the different things that you have to really think about when you're talking about, when you write this list on what exactly is it that I want in a man. Remember, playing the game of life is thinking. It's about strategizing and really looking at to what's really important to you in your particular time in your life right now. What are you trying to build? Because I believe that if you're going to get in a relationship with somebody, you want to get in a relationship with somebody that's going to build you and enhance you, not take away from you and pull you down. And so once again, what kind of mind are you attracting into your life? Because are you attracting somebody who's going to tear you down and pull you down, or are you going to attract a man that's going to pour into you and build you up and lift you as y'all lift and rise together? Because guess what? We can do battle by ourselves. So if I'm going to connect with somebody, I at least want to connect with somebody to accomplish some things that maybe we couldn't accomplish by ourselves. But if we can come together, two heads are definitely better than one. We can come together and lock and really build this relationship thing. So now we talk about dating, right? Are you dating now? Are you going out dating, meeting people, putting yourself out there, right? Goes back to, what are you targeting? I want to attract the right man in my life. But what's your target? What are you targeting? What exactly are you looking for? What exactly are you wanting to magnetize, right? You got to know what you don't just want to go out and get anything. You got to have some kind of standards. You got to have something that you have put together that you feel of what you're looking for, right? Dating is good. I've always liked dating. Some people don't believe about it. You know, you've been hurt. You meet these guys online and then you say that they're not who they say they are or whatever. Listen, dating is great. I encourage everybody to go date. Dating helps you to learn who you are. The more relationships you get involved in, the more you learn about who you are. It opens you up to yourself. You know why? You only attract what you are. So if you're dating people and you're realizing, oh, I don't like this guy, I don't like this, I don't like that, you're learning more about you because you're only attracting what you are. So it's helping you to go within and change, because guess what? Now that you're starting to date, you're realizing that, wait a minute, when I started dating back here, I was dating these kind of guys. Now I'm starting to attract this kind. Now I'm starting to attract, guess what? You're learning about yourself. You're learning what you like, what you don't like. But more importantly, it's going to teach you how to go within and make changes, because you're going to say to yourself, why am I keep dealing with the same things over and over again? Why am I still dealing with all these things over and over again? And so what happens is now I'm going within myself to make the changes because I'm learning about myself. Dating is great. Enjoy yourself. Women are supposed to be wooed and pursued, right? So enjoy yourself. I don't see any problem with having a man take you out. I don't see any problem of maybe seeing more than one person at a time. You're dating, right? You're not obligated to anybody. You're finding yourself. You're trying to really find out what it is that you really are attracting. You want to go out there and you really want to have fun. But at the same time, you want to always remember that you are in control. You know what you're magnetizing. You know what you're bringing in. Now, I'm going to show you why when it comes to the woman attracting a man, it has nothing to do with the man, but everything to do with the woman. So we're going to get there, right? Now, listen, I want to talk a little bit about this. This is the key opponent tonight, about the eagle. Now, I want to read you a story. Listen to this. The eagle is actually, the female eagle chooses her mate. The story of how she chooses her mate is phenomenal. And I think that this story will really help a lot of you and really change your perspective when it comes to attracting the right man in your life. Listen, when it comes time for the female eagle to choose her mate, she prepares herself for many suitors, right? So here we go. She prepares herself for many suitors, which means that she's preparing herself to date. She's preparing herself to go out and date, that she's not going to just take the first man that comes up, that she's going to go out and date, and she's going to be actually seeing more than one person maybe at a time. She's already anticipating this, right? So as many come before her, she looks them over quite well and then picks one to fly with for a while. So she looks at the men, she weighs them out, she filters them through, and then she finds one that says, okay, let's date, let's go out, right? And if she likes the way he flies, she finds a small stick, right? Picks it up and flies high with the stick. At some point, she will drop the stick to see if the mate will catch it, right? If the male will catch it. If he does, then she finds a larger stick and flies with it much higher this time. Each time the male catches the stick, she continues to pick up a larger stick and larger sticks, right? Here is the test. She takes a stick, flies high up in the sky and drops it just to see if he's going to be able to catch the stick. He catches that stick. She goes and gets a heavier stick, a bigger stick, goes up higher than that, drops it to see if he's going to be able to catch it. The stick is coming from a higher altitude, but it's also very heavy. She does this over and over again, right? Then it says, when she finds the largest, heaviest stick that herself can carry, the stick is at this point almost the size of a small log, but she still flies very high within this large stick. And at any time in this process, if the male fails to catch the stick, she flies away from him as her signal that the test is now over. She begins to search all over again, begins to date again. And when she finds the male she's interested in, she starts testing him in the exact same way. And she will continue this test until she finds the eagle who can catch all the sticks. And when she does, she chooses him and will mate with him for life, right? Listen to this. When you begin to understand about the power of a woman and how she's able to do this. Now listen to this. This eagle goes up high, finds a stick and drops the stick, right? When she drops the stick, she wants to see if he's going to catch it. What she's doing, she knows her worth. She knows who she is. And so what she begins to do now is, as she begins to drop this stick, what she's showing you is her value. That it's not about, oh, I'm just going to go out with the guy that I'm going to go out with. I want to see if you're going to be able to take care of me. I want to see if you're going to be able to have security. I want to see if you're going to be able to take care of me and my family if anything happens. I want to see if you're going to be secure. I want to see if you're going to be responsible. I want to see if you're going to be reliable. I want to see how you're really going to connect with me and really handle certain things. These are the things that she does in the dating process. This is what she does in the dating process, because what she's trying to say is, listen, I'm moving into a level of understanding of where I want to move into a greater, deeper level of time. And so she begins to do that, right? And so what happens here is that one of the reasons for this test is that at some point she will build a nest together with him, right? And they will have little eaglets, right? And when the babies begin to learn how to fly, sometimes they fall instead. When the babies are trying to learn how to fly, sometimes they don't know how to get it right away, and sometimes they begin to fall. And she wants to know if he's going to be able to catch them. Are you going to be able to take care of the babies? Are you going to be able to nurture and help me take care of the babies in our whole household and our livelihood, right? Because it's not just about how big the bird is. It's not about how strong he is, but what about his mind? It's about his mind, his responsibility level, his commitment level. And so what happens is she already know who she is. And by her dropping those sticks, she's trying to attract the person who she already is. And when she finds the person that can catch all the sticks, guess what? She's found her attraction. She's found the person that's become one with her. This is a deep story. I could really go into this a whole little deeper, but we're running out of time. But I want you to think about the story about the female eagle and how she chooses her mate. Listen, we've been on here for about an hour. We've dealt with a whole lot of great content tonight. I hope a lot of you really got a real understanding of just a different perspective of how you're looking at attracting a man in your life, how you're even looking at dealing with a man, how you're not longer dealing with the word man anymore, but now you're dealing with the mind. You're not dealing with the concept of any kind of way of that it's everybody else's fault. But in reality, me attracting who I need to attract in my life has been my fault, right? I have a great opportunity for you tonight. Starting July 7th, I'm going to be teaching a course, and it's going to be called 6 Secrets That Every Woman Needs to Know About a Man. It's going to be a 4-week course. Listen, in this course, I'm going to teach you so many things about what you need to learn about a man. But more importantly, the reason why this class is important, because guess what? As you get ready to fly high in the sky and drop those sticks, you're going to be able to understand and see things and know this about a man and not about a man, and know how to attract the right kind of man that you want, because you'll be able to understand and know how a man thinks and how he operates, and know the different stages that a man goes through and the different levels of consciousness that a man goes through. So this is a very important class. Listen, if you know anybody who's a woman who's raising a son by herself and she's a single mother, I definitely want you to invite her to be a part of this class, because there's so many things that I want to teach her that she may not even understand about her son, because there's not a father figure in the house, and she can get a lot of wisdom and understanding and save her all kind of anguish and stress because of what she will begin to get out of this class. And so if you are married, definitely you should get into this class. It will help you understand your husband better. You can take this class back home and you and your husband can take it together, and it will bring you two together closer. Okay, so here we go. The special opportunity that I have tonight for you guys is this: 6 secrets every woman should know about a man. Listen, it's a 4-week online workshop, right? It's going tonight for $197. Listen, for $197, you get access to enroll in the 4-week online workshop. You get a 30-minute one-on-one with me. Now, listen, some of you may say, well, you know, what does that mean? That means I can sit down with you. We can work personally. I can put together a blueprint. We can throw some concepts and ideas together, some things of what you want to manifest, or what kind of man you're attracting, or basically where you're at in your relationship dynamic, right? Usually a one-on-one consultation with me is going to run you about $297, right? But I'm throwing that in tonight. You're also getting a copy of my newly released book, The Art of Manifestation, 6 Keys to Creating Your Own Reality. You're getting all of this, $197, 4-week online workshop. Listen, it starts July the 7th, 2017, 8 p.m. Listen, I need you to be in the place. Listen, this is going to be phenomenal. We're going to be talking about so many different concepts. Single mothers, if you're married, single, divorced, widow. If you're in a relationship, if you're not in a relationship, you need to be a part of this workshop. This workshop, we're going to be dealing with every aspect, the things that I believe every woman should know about a man, the things that will help you to understand men, the things that will help you to be able to come into a better perspective of understanding, and also when attracting your mate. If you listen to the webinar, I talked about magnetizing and finding your target. Well, when you know what the secrets of a man are, when you understand these concepts that I'm going to share with you, it will definitely put you in a better position to target the right man for you. So if you're saying tonight, listen, I don't really know what the right man means to me, I don't know how to define the word right? If you don't know that, after you take this class, you'll be able to focus a little bit more, target a little better and be able to magnetize the right man into your life, because you will begin to understand. You will also begin to look at men a different way, and you will know what you want. You will know what you want to attract, and also it will help you to evolve as a woman. Listen, I am so excited. This is going to be a phenomenal time. I'm telling you, you want to be in this workshop. It's going to be awesome. Listen, 6 secrets to every woman needs to know about a man. July 7th, be in the building. You got to be in the building, July 7th, 8 p.m. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this webinar. Please, if you are watching the replay and you found that this webinar was successful and you learned a lot, you got some great concepts and ideas, I ask that you share it with at least 4 or 5 people that you know that you feel can benefit for the content and for the things that were shared throughout this webinar. Once again, I want to let you know that I appreciate you, and I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this webinar. Before we leave, I'd like to say this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance. It's not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. Thank you.